Welcome back to Finn vs. History. As ever, I'm joined by Horatio Gould.
I'm not a Nazi, I'm Ricardo.
A man who's just following orders and is a cog in the machine.
Yeah.
And today we are in part 3 of our epic Adolf Eichmann double series.
Yes.
The fortnight series.
Yeah.
We're stretching out
2 weeks of Eichmann.
2 weeks of Nazi filth for you pigs, you lucky hogs.
You love it.
Where were we? Last episode.
We left off.
I started off in the break between these episodes. I'm now referring to going for a shit as going to convict a war criminal after what Charlie termed as the requisite punishment for Holocaust perpetrators.
Yeah. We had a big lunch. We all got double chicken.
Big lunch. Big poo, big lunch. Back for part 3. We're in Buenos Aires, and Adolf Eichmann, the Peter Pan of the Nazis. He refuses to grow up. He refuses to grow up and take his punishment. He's gone to Buenos Aires. He's called himself Ricardo, and he's sucking off gauchos all over town.
Yeah, guchos.
Guchos, he calls them. Gobble gobble.
Gobble gobble gucho.
He's
Where we left off, so obviously naughty Eichmann escapes to South America down the rat lines like many Nazis.
Rats.
And then he has 3 big burly Nazi boys.
Hello.
Who have not been shamed for their heritage whatsoever.
No.
Because there's no one to shame them, because everyone's like, yeah, we bloody hate Jews as well.
Hey,
this is brilliant.
Yeah.
And then somehow a Jewish girl living in Argentina, whose father is a Holocaust survivor, starts dating Klaus, one of the big meatheads.
Yeah.
Don't really know how that works, but I think they're both kind of undercover. One's undercover as Jewish, and one's undercover as a Nazi.
Yeah, much like sort of Romeo and Juliet. A modern day
star-crossed lovers.
If I was doing a sort of Baz Luhrmann reinterpretation of that film now, I'd do it.
Argentina,
I'd do it Argentina, and the
Eichmann plot's happening down in the background.
And so they both, one of them is Eichmann's son, and the other one is a Jewish girl, and they are in
Holocaust
love.
survivor.
They're fully in love, and then they find out who their parents are. And it's like, well, should we carry on this love despite...
Well, they'd have the big breakdown before the third act, and then there'd be a part where they'd realise, what's more important, love.
And then they'd get to the altar, and then she'd kill herself, and he'd be like, ha, great. I've striken again. One more to the list. Carrying on is my father's work.
But anyway,
it's a different story.
They're dating, and then he would often brag that his uncle...
his Tinder settings must have been a bit off.
Yes, I think so.
The no Jew filter on the old Bumble.
It was still the early prototypes.
Yeah, it was prototypes of internet dating.
The 60s.
They hadn't refined it.
And he keeps bragging that his uncle killed lots of Jews.
Sorry, this is the 50s. Can you place this for the dum-dums?
Right. So what's the?
So they start dating in 1956.
Right. So this is after the invention of McDonald's.
McDonald's is in Buenos Aires. Is there an?
I don't know if it's made to Buenos Aires, but it's in America. McDonald's
is in America.
Can we check that? Because I think it's going to be tight.
Charlie Thomas McDonald's invented.
And
1940.
JFK cheats on Jackie Kennedy for the first time.
First time.
Tight. When does he marry Jackie Kennedy?
Can you call him
tight? Insecure.
Tight, Jackie Kennedy. Well, it's impossible to pinpoint a definitive first instance. Rumours and reports suggest that John F. Kennedy had multiple affairs during his marriage to Jackie Kennedy, with some accounts dating back to the late 50s. You may have smashed it. Smashed it.
I played it tight here, but it's unclear. Great. It's not. They're not two clear dates.
McDonald's. McDonald's is a thing. Eichmann's stopping off for, what do you reckon, chicken nuggets?
Yeah.
He's a nugget guy. I don't think he's taking a Big Mac.
You chlorinate your chicken? Here's something else you can chlorinate.
How do you cook the beef?
And how quickly is this done?
How quickly is the line from start to finish? Very impressive.
To be fair, he would have been great working at McDonald's.
He would have been a brilliant organizer of McDonald's kitchen. I imagine he just walks in. You know how there's those Italian things called like what are they called? Umbertos. No, the old men who stand with their arms behind the back, staring at construction. Umbrelle. Yeah. I imagine Eichmann as an umbrelle in a McDonald's kitchen, just hands behind his back, just going, so you're moving that, and how fast it takes to get there. That's very impressive.
I could make it quicker, but
I've got a spreadsheet.
Crazy. Italian culture is so crazy that you can have a word for that.
A word. Basically, he's a construction cuck. In that it's an old man who's retired who watches construction workers and give us unsolicited, unfounded advice.
That's awesome.
It's amazing. There's so many of them. It's a cultural phenomenon. It's the Italian man standing, looking, going, "I reckon you want to put that over there," and none of them have got anything to do with construction at all. It's amazing.
When people are saying that fundamentally there's no difference between men and women, like
women aren't doing this. Women are not doing this.
I think you want
to move that around over there. Actually. You sure that hole's big enough? What drill bit are you using? That's a male thing. But I imagine in my head, Eichmann's in Argentina because he's hiding his identity, right? He's Ricardo, and he's going to drag shows. He's found a new, discovered a whole new part of himself.
Face full of Guccio.
He's got his face full of balls every night. But I imagine he's, part of him is obviously still like I was king of logistics. I am responsible for one of the greatest engineering feats.
His words.
Yeah. Strong. I must stress they're his words.
Yeah.
I disagree with him.
Yeah. But he would say, this is brilliant. This is the best thing ever.
What a feat of logistics I've done.
I wouldn't, but he would.
I wouldn't say that. I'd say it was a war crime. It was a genocide. But, there's two sides to every story.
There is two sides
to every story.
One
man's Holocaust is another man's logistical success.
Carnival.
Yeah. It's
Brazilian Carnival.
I say Holocaust, you say Amazon Prime, whatever. Anyway, so Ricardo is running riot in Buenos Aires, having a lovely time.
And this is the James Bond period of the story, right? Because
this is why it's so exciting.
Tiny little bit of information, and it's so cinematic, all of Operation Finale. But it's that tiny bit of information. This Jewish girl goes over to her boyfriend's house to see this uncle, and then the boyfriend calls him dad, and she starts saying he kind of looks like this picture of Eichmann, and then she feeds that back to her Holocaust survivor father, who feeds it back to a guy working in the West German government, who don't really give a fuck.
No, because there's still Nazis in the West German government.
Yeah, because
And there's former Nazis that have been employed by the CIA to double agents. But what Bauer does, Bauer really is the one driving this home. He goes to Mossad. So Mossad, for the dum-dums, that's the Israeli secret service. It's a very sort of nascent organization at this point. And we should do, I suppose, we'll do a very thorough and uncontroversial series on the foundation of Israel. I imagine.
Would maybe call it definitive.
We'll do a definitive take on Israel.
Comprehensive.
Do you know what? We'll see how this series goes, and then maybe give it a bit, and then do that. But short history. 1948. The Israelis basically, the Jews in the British Mandate of Palestine kick off. They announce the state of Israel, and then almost immediately the Arabs invade from Jordan, and they kicks off a war with the Brits and various Arab countries, and Israel fights them off, and it's kind of founded in their head as kind of like this heroic struggle to create their much longed for homeland. And
a big part of Israel, because I think the stereotypes about Jewish people is often based on certain stereotypes are based on like American Jews, like Woody Allen, that sort of thing.
Hey.
The kind of comedy writer that God, I'm going to the doctor, that sort of thing. But literally actively, when Israel's being founded, they want to change that stereotype. That's why the kind of Israeli, in many ways, like the British compared to the white South Africans.
Totally,
you know
totally.
They're the same people as us, but they're just it's a very different flavour of white Brit.
Well, I'd say that you've got
what the fuck are you doing in my backyard?
Exactly. I'd say that if you wanted to create a sort of like a maths but for men, a reality show for men, I'd say get all the settler colonialists in a room and see who wins.
I think I've got my money on the
South Africans, Northern Irish, the Israelis, Australians.
Yeah, I think it's right at the end. It's Northern Irish versus white South Africans.
Do you think?
Yeah,
you think?
Yeah. Well, just the harsh as the accent. I don't think that's very funny.
I don't think that's funny. I don't think you're funny either. Do you think there's too many accents going on?
There's quite a lot going on there.
A Northern Irish person talking to a white South African is very hard to...
Yeah, it's very harsh. No, it's not I'm racist. I just don't like black people.
That was Birmingham. I'm not racist.
I'm not racist. I just don't like black people.
I come from the same place Lenny Henry does. I'm not racist.
Just because I come from the black country doesn't mean
I don't. No. Anyway,
what were we saying? We're talking about establishment of Israel. They're like, we're going to go beast mode. We're sick of being seen as these sort of like, schmucks, or like kind of using our brains but not physically,
Yeah.
And they, to be fair to them, they bloody do it. because they're tough cookies.
They've. I mean,
for whatever it's controversial what to say about them, but one thing you cannot say is that they aren't tough as hell.
They planted a flag and they've stayed there. Fair play. What I find interesting,
what I don't really understand about this period is that they've obviously been decimated by the Holocaust.
No, but see, that's a bit of a misnomer. In the 50s and the 60s,
Holocaust didn't happen.
Your words.
No, it's an urban myth.
We should say for balance. It is still contested. On this podcast, we believe it did happen, and we're talking as if it did, which it did. But obviously, for in the interest of balance, there are people who deny this. Let us know in the comments.
I'm sure you will.
Those people don't seem to keep that to themselves.
No, famously.
Denial. In the 50s and 60s, only one, and it is, I guess it's still quite a large proportion, but 1 in 4 Israelis are Holocaust survivors, which when you think about it, there's loads of people in Israel, the majority, who aren't Holocaust survivors. They're not, European.
You calling them freeloaders?
No, I'm saying that we'll get to this in the next episode when you talk about the trial, but there's an attitude of like, what do you mean? Fucking what? You walked into a camp? What the fuck are you on about? I just wouldn't have done that.
From
Israelis. That's how hard they are. Is that they view the European the Holocaust survivors who have moved there? They're like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
What do you mean Holocaust? You fucking idiots! Why did you do that?
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have walked in there.
What were you wearing? Kind of thing.
They're totally what are you wearing then?
Yeah.
And it's the Eichmann trial that actually changes that in Israel. It's only really in the 60s they start to actually absorb the Holocaust into their national memory. At this point, they're kind of like ignoring it because they've also there's Arab nationalism, there's NASA, NASA is in the kernel, not the space agency.
Right. Yeah. But there's a lot of Jewish people, there's a lot of Nazis working in NASA. That's the thing.
Are there?
That's the big thing. Is that a lot of the
Hitler's in space.
That's one of the theories.
Space Hitler.
But NASA, because the best scientists were Nazis at the time, they were the leading. There's a lot of controversial things about some quite controversial scientists being nabbed by NASA.
Well, this is actually part of the reason the hunt for Eichmann fades away in the 50s is that the Americans in the late 40s, they're more concerned about grabbing Nazi scientists for the oncoming Cold War and the nuclear standoff than they are about war criminals. So they want the scientists to come and work for them,
right?
Than they do.
It's like a yard sale of the Third Reich.
Yeah, it's a fire sale.
We got like a really qualified eugenicist, doctor scientist. Yeah. I guess if you put them on rockets, he'd probably do a good job. Yeah. Just don't speak to him in the cafeteria.
And then Eichmann's like the last guy to be picked up football. Like, I do the logistics and the train. Like, oh, fuck, who cares? Fuck off, nerd. So Mossad is a nascent agency, and the head of it at this point is a guy called Issa Harel, and all these guys in Mossad, they've been forged. They're kind of they're like heroes of 48, right? Because 48 is the big. That's like their
founding.
That's the founding myth. That's like their World War II. Israeli dads are talking about 48. Right, so I think it's not Issa Harel. There's another guy called Rafi Eitan who's actually the operational leader of the role to get Eichmann. I think he's called Stinky Rafi because in the 48 he gets to like crawl through a sewer for like 3 days or something and comes out
Charlie Speed
smelling of poo.
It's not the most creative stick name.
Stinky Rafi. The thing is, that's what it says.
Yeah, I guess so.
Quick single into the leg side. Caught in sewage. Stinky Rafi. There you go.
Yeah.
Anyway, Bauer, the German Attorney General, gets this tip off from Klaus's girlfriend.
Yep.
And he realizes the West Germans aren't going to do anything because they're all still Nazis.
Yeah, no one's the interest is fading basically.
Yeah, interest fading. So he goes to Mossad. He goes to Issa Harel, and Harel's like, "Ooh, well, I'm still interested. I'm interested in getting Eichmann." So he sends a guy called Zvi. I don't know how to say Israeli names. It's ZHVI. Zvi.
Sounds like he's going down a slide.
Yeah, he goes on a big slide all the way to Zvi. He's called Zvi Haroni, I think, or Haruni or something. Haroni goes to Buenos Aires to scope it out, and there's also the girl's dad is basically like fancies himself as a spy. The girlfriend's dad. Right. So he's like, yeah, we'll track him down, we'll find him.
The blind one?
Yeah, the blind guy.
Thinks that he's James Bond.
Yeah, but he starts basically keeps asking for money from the Israelis, being like, if I'm going to do some work, I should be paid for it. And so it's like, would you not want to, as a Holocaust survivor, you not want to find this guy? He's like, well, no, can you blame a schmuck for trying to make a quick buck kind of thing, right? He's obviously, this is why the search takes so long, is that the Israelis are like, well, I should be paid for this. Is there any money here? Oh, can't blame a guy for trying to make a quick buck. So
he should be paid.
He should be paid.
Yeah.
But Sviharoni goes over to be like, "Are you sure you found him? Let's do some tests and let's do some more scoping out." And this is where the story becomes it's like Sean Connery era James Bond, because I heard a thing where the blind guy's like, "How can we trust you?" And he goes, he rips an Argentinian dollar in half, gives him half, and go, "If you see the guy with the other half, then you know."
And he's like, "No."
What are you doing? That's $1. I could have bought some chewing gum with that.
Christ.
But then I just realised he's blind, so that's a stupid thing to do, isn't it? To be honest, I don't know if he's blind. I may have got bored during the audiobook. Anyway, basically, there's lots of Issa Harel and Mossad. They start sending out more and more people to scope out the reported sightings of Eichmann.
Yeah.
And they're not really getting anywhere, partly because the guy might be blind, he might not be, I can't remember.
Yeah.
And maybe Klaus splits up with the Jewish girl, maybe as well. Yeah. I'm not sure. Anyway, in 1960, Eichmann's father dies back home in Muti. Fatih. 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 That's what I was going to do. Muti. Fatih. My head's
crazy.
Gone. My head's absolutely gone.
He's lost it.
I've lost it.
I'm Lineker, you're Gascoigne. I'm going.
I'm gone. I'm absolutely gone. Do you know what? Thank God we didn't do the Nazis too early on, because it just wouldn't. It wouldn't have been a podcast. It's too much fun. That's what Ricardo's doing. He's got the journey of Eichmann is Mutti to Fatih. Right,
we're getting as lost as they were at this point.
Yeah.
We're stuck.
This is why the hunt takes 12 years. Anyway, 1960, Eichmann's father dies, right? Back in Germany. And
this is the sad bit of the story.
This is the sad bit of the story. I don't wish his father's death on anyone. War criminal or not.
This is when Eichmann's doing
Tragically, his father drowned in a mountain of poo. He slipped and fell.
This is Eichmann during his Edinburgh Fringe show. This is
Eichmann's doing this, right? Yeah.
When you realise that his father
He's doing it as Ricardo.
Yeah.
It's Adolf Eichmann is Ricardo Clement.
Yeah. When you find out his father's dead, you're like, God, that is really tough.
Wait, so do you mean...
So it begins with him talking about
the
doing the Holocaust, and then he goes, but then...
At the 40-minute mark, there's a sad bit.
And then at the age of about 93, my father passed away, and everyone's like, that is so moving.
Yeah. That's really sad, that bit of the story. To think you've done all that.
Yeah.
And then So he is thinking, should I go back to Germany for the funeral? And then he goes, obviously, no, I can't, because I'm Ricardo.
That was quick.
Yeah, that was quick. Should I do that? Oh no, I'm literally going to get killed if I do that.
That'd be fucking mad.
But that's a bad idea. And at this point, there's loads of rumours of him. Every now and then in the paper, there's like a rumour that he's in Kuwait or he's in Egypt and he's helping Arab nationalists.
Right. So there's a lot of tip-offs. So like a lot of time we have no idea who's telling the truth.
Because there's no internet. So there's not... The last photo they have of him is the one that his mistress from Prague gave a Jewish investigators from Haganah back like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So what the West Germans do is they go to the father's funeral and they take photographs of his brothers, and because they're trying to work out what he looks like now.
Oh, so he sent his boys over. He sent the meaty boys over.
No, not his sons. Eichmann has brothers. Eichmann's one of 5.
Yeah.
And so they go to the funeral, they photograph his brothers to try and get a picture of what they think Eichmann might look like now. Right. In Argentina, they say that he looks quite like his brother, is it Otto? Anyway.
Yeah. They're all black, and it's like, it's the wrong funeral.
It's me, myself, and Irene. Eichmann's mum had 3 black triplets. Karl Adolf Eichmann was a German accountant who worked for the tramways. And, it runs in the family.
I bet that it runs very well in the family.
Yeah.
Very efficiently.
75 he died. Devastating.
That's young.
Too young. Gone, but not forgotten. Let's have a little in memoriam.
We're gonna have this episode is dedicated to Karl Adolf Eichmann.
Pour one out for Eichmann's dad. Anyway. Fucking hell. Right. Come on, let's get this back on track.
Sorry.
We need Eichmann to run this fucking podcast. There's no way we're getting to our destination. So, there's various tip-offs in the late 50s. In 1960, they take a photo of his dad and they start to go, okay, this is what it probably looks like. They build like a composite image of what they think he looks like now. And they go over to...
Why has he got a pair of tits? It's a guy. So they had to do quite a few of them.
Yeah.
People keep...
Yeah. Anyway, there's a guy, there's Zvi Haroni is going over there, and he is the one that... I think there's one point where he goes to Eichmann's house and he has a spy camera in a briefcase.
Yes.
I mean, this is why it's just peak James Bond. You know, because spies nowadays is really boring. You know, all the cue, the exploding pens and all that stuff. Now they're like, well, that's too obvious. What an actual spy does is they just go in front of the Iranian embassy and they just take photos, and then if they get called up and they go, oh, I'm on holiday. Yeah. And you go, well, that's boring, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, the craft has definitely gone.
Yeah, the spyware's got. Where's the paper with the eyes in it? Yeah. You know, where's the fucking knife and the shoe? You know, where's all the fun stuff? So this is happening now. Briefcase with a camera in it.
There's the photos.
Oh, is that them?
That's the photos from the.
Oh yeah, so he poses as an American who wants to buy up property in the area to start his factory.
Right.
So he's just talking to him about what the area's like. And he has a briefcase with a camera and he takes these photos. Yeah. And then they go back and they compare that to the photos they have in their file, which includes the photo that his old mistress from Prague gave them. And they decide that this is Adolf Eichmann. They know from they've gone to the records office in Buenos Aires and they found that the gas meter is registered to Ricardo Clement. And they put two and two together and they realise I think the terminology they use is the traffic light is red, Eichmann is Clement, Eichmann's Ricardo, and he's gobbling off gauchos.
Right.
We've got to stop him. Never mind that Holocaust stuff. He's sucking off all these cowboys.
Yeah, it's very homophobic.
Very homophobic culture. So then what Issa Harel, the head of Mossad, does is he goes to Prime Minister David Ben-Gurion, who's like the hero of 48.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, look at his hair. His hair's crazy.
Yeah. It looks like the current Irish president. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Michael D. Higgins.
Michael D. Higgins.
Yeah. Crazy.
In both cases, not doing great for the stereotypes.
But this is... yeah. I mean, you can see where they come from, basically.
It's like, lad, if you don't want to be called a leprechaun, don't elect
that guy. Who should we get to represent the Irish? Or how about the little diddly-dee Irish? Hello there. Hi, Michael D. Higgins. Yeah,
can you not have the parliament at the end of a rainbow, please, guys?
Yeah. Anyway, Ben-Gurion is the hero, and he's the head of he's the prime minister of Israel, and so Harel goes over and goes, right, we know Eichmann is Ricardo. Yeah. We know he's been living his gay life out in Buenos Aires. What should we do? And Ben-Gurion's like, get him back here. We'll put him in a box in a room, and we'll try him. We'll have a trial in Israel. I want him alive.
So a lot of people wanted him to shot, yeah.
People just said, there was like, one of the plans was, we'll go over there, he'll have a car accident, no one will ever know that he was even Eichmann, and Israel will just slip in, slip out. And Ben-Gurion's like, no, because everyone who's a Holocaust survivor in Israel is being called like a fat loser. And
we're skinny losers.
Yeah, but they've overcompensated. Right. They got released and went straight to the donut shop. Right. But as in, there's, you know, people are forgetting about the Holocaust already. Right. In Europe, people have moved on from it. You know, at Nuremberg, there was never any survivor testimony. It was all like top down from the Allies. So Ben-Gurion's like, we need to try him, and justice needs to be done, needs to be seen to be done. So he initiates Operation Finale.
The finale solution.
The finale solution. Nice bit of to the Eichmann question. This is like the crack team that they get together, right? This is like not the A team, more the A team. The Oive team. Issa Harel, who's the big dog, head of Mossad, he goes over there.
What's head of Mossad's out there?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to get. Yeah, this is
he
big.
goes over there to make sure, because he's like, we got one shot. I'm not fucking this up.
Right.
Then you've got Rafi Eitan, Stinky Rafi.
That's his nickname. Yeah, sorry.
Stinky Rafi. So he's the hero of, like, he predicted that the Jordanians would invade in 48 as soon as they pronounced it, and then he told the Israeli army. And on that intelligence, they were able to fight off that first.
Right.
So he's a real hero for the Israelis. Then you got Peter Malkin, who I think, so he's the chief kidnapper.
Yeah.
He's got massive hands. He's got like baseball mitts for hands.
That's why he's the chief kidnapper.
Yeah.
Who's the the guy with the biggest hands?
Biggest hands is the kidnapper. So his job is going to be to basically bundle
big ears as well.
Bundle him into a car. He also is the only one that speaks Spanish. Then you got Zvi Aroni, who's the lead investigator.
Yeah.
But the mission operation finale is so thrilling because it's basically 3 missions in one. Right, because they have to kidnap Eichmann alive. They then have to keep him in Argentina
without his sons
coming for them.
His big burly sons.
Yeah. And then you have to get him back to Israel all in one go.
Yeah.
So what it's
very Argo-like in some ways.
It's like it's like a Hitman level. Do you ever play Hitman?
Yeah.
Love Hitman.
Hitman's great.
This whole mission is a Hitman level.
Yeah.
In that you can't kill anyone.
Yeah.
And then that's how you win the game.
Yeah.
Hitman, people don't know what Hitman is.
Hitman is a game where you're trying to do assassination, but you have to work through this kind of like, you basically keep pushing people into bins and stealing their clothes. You put them in, you start as like a chef, and then you put them in.
It's fucking great. In lockdown, I played Hitman the entire time.
The big lesson you learn from Hitman is that you can kind of get into anywhere with the right uniform.
Yeah,
that's the kind of
but also wardrobes are your friend. Always put you go up behind people, you like chloroform them, and then you put them in the wardrobe.
Yeah.
So if you're like if you're running a restaurant and someone disappears, just look in your wardrobes. But this is what they have to do in the Hitman mission. They have to get Eichmann. They have to bundle him into a car. They have to keep him in a safe house. And then there's the whole thing of how the fuck are we getting him back to Israel? So what they do is the Israeli airline is called El Al, I think.
Right.
They don't fly straight to South America because obviously why would they? That's full of Nazis. But as it so happens, in May 1960, it's the 150th anniversary of Argentinian independence from Spain, and an Israeli delegation has been invited to the celebrations. So what Issa Harel does is somehow he like gets in a meeting with the El Al bosses, and he's like, "So you're going to Argentina for the Israeli delegations? Can I just book a few extra seats on that plane? Don't ask me why."
Why?
No, don't ask me why.
Right.
I've got a load of mountain of poo into the cargo hold. So he basically managed to orchestrate it so that the Israeli delegation will arrive in Buenos Aires. They'll be there for a bit, and then they'll capture Eichmann, and then they'll use the return flight to smuggle him back to Israel and try him. Right. So they do all that. They go out in May 1960, and at this point they still haven't found a fucking safe house. So they've got to just go through they've got to deal with Argentinian Foxtons to try and find a safe house.
Yeah.
And
Airbnb.
They're all on cocaine, obviously.
Yeah.
They're having 4-hour naps in the day.
Sure.
Like, how the fuck is anyone getting anything done here? So they eventually find a safe house. They build a little prison sort of basement for Eichmann, and then in the safe house they're there for like 2 or 3 weeks, and every night they're practicing in the garage how they're going to get him. Right? So Eichmann has got a job at a Mercedes factory, and he loves his routine.
You can you could set your watch by him. He's getting the bus every,
and you could set a lot of other people's watches by him. Because he steals a lot of other people's watches and teeth and shoes. Anyway, every night he comes home from work on the same bus, the 202 bus to Garibaldi Street. Yeah. And then he goes home and he has dinner with his boring wife and his Nazi sons. And then he goes to sleep and he wishes he was Ricardo sucking off gauchos or whatever. That's his life.
Have they seen him yet?
Yeah. So in these 2 weeks,
they're shocked about how dishevelled and
they're shocked by how poor he's living, because this is a guy who was commandeering castles in Hungary and like quaffing wine and eating goulash and maniacally laughing at Jews getting on trains. And now he's just living in a shit brick house, basically, with a boring wife.
Not a brick shit house. That's his 3 sons.
No, he's actually got a shit brick house.
Yeah, which he lives in with three
brick shit houses. They go out and they watch him, and he lives in a very deserted area, it must be said. So they're spying on him for like a couple of weeks, and they sort of basically they realise that it is like a hitman mission in that he's an NPC and he's doing the same route off a bus, round the corner, into his house, the lamp goes on.
Yeah.
That's the same every night.
Yes, yeah.
So they go, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to park a car, we're going to pretend that the engine's gone, and we're going to be looking under the hood, and as he comes around the corner, I'm going to go around and go, un momento, senor, and then he's going to go like, and then he's going
to say what?
I can get fired. He's going to bundle him into the car, and they're going to fucking drug him or something. Anyway, and they're going to get him to the safe house. So, but what they're doing is they're practicing this every night in a garage. So Peter, the guy with the big hands, Peter Malkin, every night he's basically rugby tackling his mates into a car, and his mates are trying out different scenarios where Eichmann is like, self-defense trained.
Eichmann really likes it.
Harder, yeah, do it harder. Oh, such big hands, daddy. But basically, farty.
Crazy. Sorry, we were so nearly getting somewhere.
So nearly getting to the history. So my point is that but they're all terrified of Eichmann because he's been built up as this, he's the devil.
The Wizard of Oz kind of thing, isn't it?
Well, I wouldn't say wizard. I'd say
Wizard of Auschwitz.
Wizard of Auschwitz. The Wizard of Auschwitz. Follow that yellow star road. It's been fun while it lasted, this podcast. So, but they're terrified of him because he's been built up as this, like, he's in their heads, he's the guy who did the Holocaust.
Right. We
haven't had the trial yet. He's the highest ranking Nazi still on escape. In their heads, he's the guy. Yep. So they think he's worked in the SS. He's like, he's clever. They think he's going to suspect that he's there because he's been evading capture for so long. So they're practicing night in, night out. They're doing these fucking and basically they're covered in bruises all the time because they're just hitting each other. Yeah. They're like rutting stags, these big Israeli boys. So we get to the operation is scheduled for the 10th of May. And what's quite funny is that the head of Mossad is a Harel. So what he's doing is he's literally every day he's going to 12 cafes a day because he's moving to try not to be suspicious. He's basically just eating a meal. He's eating 12 meals a day and he's fucked. So he's just like constantly eating, drinking coffee.
Are you going to buy anything? Yes, I'll have another. Well, he's having a coffee at every single one, so he's having wired. A panic attack, shitting himself.
Yeah, he's making a mountain of poo to put Eichmann in. Anyway, his job is now to try and get the Israeli airline on board because they're out there and they're like, we've got to basically somehow convince the Israeli airline to smuggle this guy on. Yeah. So May the 11th, 1960. Here we go. We've been talking about this for 2.5 hours. We've just got to the point where he's going to be kidnapped. They're waiting outside his house on Garibaldi Street. It's 7 p.m. The bus comes. He's not on it. He doesn't get off.
They're thinking, he must be tipped off.
They're thinking, fuck, there's been a tip off.
Surely.
One of his big boy sons has told him. Yeah. He never misses a bus in his life. Yeah. This guy is Mr. Bus.
Used to be Mr. Train. Now he's Mr. Bus.
He's Captain Bedtime. He's always on buses. Where is he? What's happened? What's actually happened is he's gone to a trade union meeting that night for Mercedes-Benz. So he's an hour late. Right. But they don't know that. They think, fuck, we've waited too long. He's spooked. He's run. They go, should we call it quits? And they go, no. Because if we're seen here again with the car that's broken down, there's going to be suspicions. Okay. So an hour later, bus comes. Let me paint you a picture. It's raining. That's the end of the picture. It's raining, it's windy, it's Buenos Aires, so I imagine it's a bit smelly.
Well, Stinky Raffy's in the car.
Stinky Raffy's about, so people are like, fucking hell, you could have showered. Anyway, a man in a small man with a top hat and a trench coat is walking, and he's got his hand firmly in his right pocket, and they're thinking, oh fuck, he's got a gun. Right. He's got a gun. Yeah. He's got a shooter. That's
he's actually got a ruler.
He's got a ruler. Yeah, he's just been taking measurements. No, he's just got a torch. Yeah. It's a torch. Anyway, so they panic, and the big guy with he comes around the corner where the car is, and the big guy, Big Pete with the big hands, he goes, un momento, senor. And then
that's the line he's been practicing as well.
He's been practicing, yeah.
Like an autistic guy on his first day.
Un momento, senor. Nice to meet you.
And how are you doing?
Would you like a drink? What are your interests and hobbies? I like to dance. What about you?
Yeah, it's weirdly similar to going on a first date, isn't it?
It is.
The nerves. It's like,
Yeah,
he's there. Oh my God, he's there.
It's a blind date. You think, will he show? Won't he show?
He's fucking stood me up.
Oh, God. You know, I wonder what he does. So tell me, where'd you grow up? You got any family? Huh? Anyway, he turns around the corner. Un momento, senor. And Eichmann straight away is like, that's not right. And then Peter panics and just goes, fuck, and just like goes for him. And because he thinks he's got a gun, he tries to get him in a grip that he hasn't been practicing. Right. So they tumble into a ditch and it's all a bit messy. Yeah. And then Eichmann's like struggling. And then Stinky Raffy comes in with the other guy and they smother him in the
pit. He passes out.
Yeah, he just gets his spits out and just Eichmann passes out. They get him in the car and they like drive. And they've got a doctor with them as well who just makes sure Eichmann's like stable. They get him to the safe house and then they strip him naked. They handcuff him to the bed, and he's loving it. This is Ricardo's absolute wet dream of an evening. He's been kidnapped by 4 big Israelis.
Please don't tie me up.
Yeah, it is like it's a gay Nazi like vengeance fantasy, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've been caught being naughty. You've been a naughty boy.
Yeah.
You're tied to a bed naked. 4 massive Mossad agents. I mean, I'm just
having your way with it.
I'm just describing my wet dream here, basically. Yeah. So they strip him naked, and this is the bit I found funny is that the audiobook I was listening to, they were talking about how this genius interrogation technique. This guy, whoever the interrogator is, I've forgotten, is a genius. And he goes, right, what's your birthday? And Eichmann responds, and he goes,
no further questions.
no. He goes. So first he says, "What's your name?" And he goes, Ricardo. And he goes, "What were you called before that?" And he goes, Otto Eichmann. And he goes, "What were you called before that?" And he goes, "I wasn't." And then he goes, "All right."
He's playing a tough game here.
Right. Strong defense here. And then he goes, "This is this big trick." He's asking really quick questions. So he goes, "When were you born?" He goes, "Where were you born? What was your SS number?" And he just says it. And he goes, "Fuck!" And he goes, I got it. So he basically reveals that he's Adolf Eichmann.
That's almost disappointingly easy.
It's so easy. This guy's been on the run 15 years.
Yeah, just fucking...
Name, birthday, rank.
Would you hate the Jews? 9!
Fuck. I fucked it.
Shit.
And slowly he confesses he's Adolf Eichmann and he says, "You're going to kill me." And they go, "No, we're going to take you back to Israel." And he goes, don't do that. Oh, please.
At what point does he say, I've like made peace with my fate? He says something like that. Did you hear that?
I don't know, because he's there for 10 days, and they get so bored.
Might have been after he's captured.
Yeah,
straight after he's captured.
Yeah,
he says, maybe even in the car, I have made peace.
I think
with my
it is
fate.
in the car. Yeah,
but he says, I've basically made, because he's basically known something like this is potentially going to happen.
Yeah,
as soon as it's happened, he knows he's fucked, and he's just like, I've made peace with it.
So when they're in the safe house, basically there's someone always on him at all times.
Yeah.
And basically Eichmann is now reduced to the sad old little old man who's like, "Can I have a poo?" And they have to walk him to the toilet. So they keep him in the safe house for 10 days.
So they also know the Sons are out looking for him.
The Sons start looking for him.
Because there's this strong network of Nazis who live in Buenos Aires.
Yeah, there is. And actually Harel... as soon as they capture Eichmann and they're keeping him, he's like, "Let's get fucking Mengele as well." And everyone's like, "What? We've been planning this operation for like 5 months.
Yeah. And
now you're like, we've got him and we're waiting to get on the plane." And he's like, "I'm bored. Let's get another one." They're like buses. Let's just get another one.
Yeah. Eichmann's got a hood over his head. He goes, "Buses? No.
Sorry, Adolf. We're getting a plane back." Mengele, he's a bad man.
He's one of the naughtier ones.
He's medical experiments guy.
Yeah, the Angel of Death was his nickname.
But he never. He
evaded justice.
He evaded justice.
There's a lot of conspiracy theories about where he is, but
they found out where he lived while they were out there. So Eichmann's in the same safe house. They sent an agent out to find Mengele. They had a tip off. They talked to a postman, and they're like, "Where's the German doctor?" And they went, "Oh yeah, he lived there," and then he'd moved like 3 weeks before, so they just missed him. Yeah,
great. A double.
Imagine coming back with a double.
Mengele would go in the dock as well.
Exactly. Yeah, the boys. Yeah. So anyway, they get really bored and they invent lots of games in the safe house, like throwing an apple into a bin and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think someone's trying. I think there's a game of like how many apples someone can eat in a day or something.
Is Eichmann getting involved in the games?
I don't think Eichmann's getting involved in the games.
Are they like bonding with him now? Because it's been so long. They're like,
"You're right, mate. Do you know what? You're right. You're funny. You're funny, actually. I don't know why everyone goes on about you." No, the thing I listened to said there was kind of this atmosphere. Eichmann was like a black hole sucking the vibes out of the safe
I don't
house.
need to slag him on. His dad's just died.
I know. Well, that's what he's depressing them. He's like, my dad just died. And they're like, oh, mate, chill out. Yeah, they say that basically he's so pathetic and small and old man. And this is where his kind of personality starts to confuse them, because he's not this insane, cartoonish, evil guy.
Yeah.
He's just a kind of sad old prick. It's like a grumpy old prick. It's just like, I just really like trains. I'm not a bad guy. I was just following orders or whatever. Yeah. He also he starts kind of being like, I don't hate Jews. I love Jews. Some of my best friends are Jewish. He does all that stuff. And he goes like, I speak Yiddish, and they're like, fuck off, mate.
He does. Yeah,
I'm paraphrasing. I don't actually know what they said. But
some of my best friends are Jewish. I mean, that hadn't been kind of debunked as a method yet.
No. But it's one of the...
Didn't that work to the Nuremberg trials? I can't be anti-Semitic.
Some of my best friends are Jewish.
Yeah. Some of my genocide victims are Jewish. Oh, fuck. I meant friends.
All of the guys I put in
all the guys I put in the death camps were Jewish.
Yeah. All I did was I ran a charity to give Jewish people free rail travel.
To centre parks.
When I put them on, I thought they were going to centre parks. Anyway, there's been quite a lot of boring international law bullshit about whether the whole thing is a vibe or not. That on the Israeli side, David Ben-Gurion, the Prime Minister, went to his Attorney General and he said, I don't care what you have to do, make it legal for us to do this. Because it's not legal. Going to Argentina, kidnapping someone, taking them back.
Well, it breaks Argentinian law, obviously.
Yes.
But it feels like quite special circumstances.
That's what the
And
Israeli
also,
says.
why the fuck are you keeping Nazis there?
Well, that's the second question, isn't it?
Pisses me off.
They go, we're going to try you. Do you want to come to Israel? And he's like, no, that's not fair. That wouldn't be a fair trial, would it? You're all Jewish. And they're like,
yeah. You guys can be so biased.
You're really biased. I'll have an objective trial, a trial in Germany. And they go, well, that's not objective. You're German.
Yeah.
So basically, they need him to sign this thing saying, I'm coming willingly to stand trial in Israel.
Yeah.
And I think they do get him to sign it on the last day.
Yeah, they managed to get him to sign it, which he does seem a little bit defeated by the whole thing.
That's when he's resigned to his fate.
I'm resigned to my fate.
Because... And he also keeps thinking they're going to kill him at any point. Like they take him out in the yard for exercise. There's always someone there, and he's like, I need another poo and stuff. It's like,
another one?
Yeah. Mate, I'm nervous, I'm scared. He's just so pathetic. and they've in their head...
He's a boring loser.
They built him up as Hitler, and he's actually Stephen Bartlett. Can I have another poo? I've had too much heel. It's gone right through me, the skill. So yeah, he's just bobbing about in the yard. But anyway, listen. On the 20th of May, they get on the plane. They smuggle him through Buenos Aires. They drug him, so he's a bit sleepy and disorientated. And then what they do is they get him through security by going, "Oh, this guy's sick," and they're like, "Yeah, whatever," because he's in.
And this is pre 9/11.
This is very pre 9/11. You could not do the Eichmann heist now.
Yeah.
Like they dress him up in the crew gear. The only person on the plane in the crew who knows about this is the pilot.
Right.
Everyone else got no idea. They just think it's a new crew member.
Right.
They think it's a gay guy called Ricardo that got on the trolleys. So they get him on the plane, they smuggle him back, and the plane is meant to, under normal circumstances, it would meant to have 3 stops to refuel.
Yes.
They go, we can't risk that. Can you just fucking put your foot down and cane it home? And the pilot's like, I can do 1 stop, and even that's a bit of a risk. And they're like, fuck it, do it. So he does. He absolutely is like, like nailing it.
Down on the pedal?
On the pedal. He's running on fumes. It's like, oh fuck,
He's
like,
not the best plane
he's got the little yellow petrol tank. It's like 50 miles to refuel. Like, I think I can. He's in neutral a lot. He's coasting, trying to coast.
Fine.
He stops in Senegal, refuels, gets back to Israel.
This is why it's quite similar to Argo, getting them out when they're not meant to be out. The Sons have got, because obviously it's been like 10 days, maybe even longer.
It's 10 days.
10 days. So the Sons have got together a band of other Nazis who have all... They've suspected, obviously, that he's been abducted.
Yeah.
They think it's by Jews in the area. So they go start smashing up synagogues, fucking batsy old tricks.
Yep.
Any excuse.
The apple does not fall far from the tree.
But like literally, Argentinian Nazis are going around looking for him, blaming Jews and stuff, and then they think it might be Israelis, and then they realise they might even have got a tip-off, or they see that there's an Israeli a delegation in town. They're like, this is really suspicious, and so then they desperately say, right, when this plane stops where it was meant to in Brazil, we're going to make sure that it gets off. So they have people in Brazil waiting.
Oh, shit, I didn't know this.
Yeah, they had people in Brazil. They're like, we're going to, but it's too late.
Because the plane goes straight to Senegal.
Doesn't stop.
Oh, so what was going to happen in Brazil? Was like a
they're going to get people. They're going to
board the plane,
because I think they might have even spoken to the Argentinian government, because the Argentinian government obviously does not want this at all.
No,
because it's breaking Argentinian law.
Well, it's a disgrace.
It's an absolute a man whose father's literally
his dad has just died, and you've kidnapped. He's an old man, and you've kidnapped him, and you've put him on a plane. I mean, the whole thing is incredibly distasteful.
Also, what about the statute of limitations?
I know.
What is the statute of limitations? How long?
Was it 10 years in America?
Yeah, he did the Holocaust like 20 years ago.
Give the guy a break. Has he committed one crime since he got to Argentina? He's just, all this guy's done, follow the rules. In this country, Argentina, he's followed the rules robustly.
Yeah, maybe Eichmann had, but Ricardo's done nothing wrong.
Ricardo's done nothing wrong.
Unless you're homophobic.
No, look, this is a tragic tale, violation of international sovereignty. They shouldn't even be in Argentine airspace if they were following the rules. But
so they get him back.
They get him back to Israel.
And Argentina says repatriate him.
They wake up finally. What?
Repatriate him immediately. You've broken our law.
Well,
which pisses me off.
They get him back on the just to finish the timeline. 22nd of May he lands, and then they get him in a cell. And on 23rd of May, David Ben-Gurion announces that they've successfully captured Adolf Eichmann and he's in Israeli custody. And that's the first the world hears about it. No one knows anything about this until now. And but then you were saying that Argentina...
They're like, this is ridiculous, send him back immediately. And
okay.
Yeah. But it's more like, why the fuck have you got so many Nazis there?
Yeah.
The Gaul.
Yeah. That's our Nazi. You've taken our Nazi.
Why have you got one?
Well, we've got loads, actually. Yeah. We're collecting them. It's like the World Cup where they do stickers.
Yeah. Which I guess shows how...
I would have a Nazi sticker
the view of the Holocaust maybe is not... shows where it was at this point, where you could be saying, that's my fucking Nazi.
That's my Nazi. Give it back. That's my Nazi. I'd love to have a Nazi sticker book.
And I bet you would.
Like
the match tax.
Yeah. Like Panini ones.
Yeah.
So Eichmann is in Israel.
Yeah.
What are they going to do now? They're going to send him back to Argentina?
Maybe.
Who knows?
Not me.
If you'd like to find out what happens,
there's only one way.
The next step, there's two ways.
Yeah.
You can join the Patreon to find out now, or you can wait a couple of days.
Or there's three ways, because you could look it up.
Or you could just...
there's other podcasts doing this topic.
Stop listening.
Yeah.
You could research. You could read a book.
Yeah. Right, there's many different ways you can find out.
Yeah.
But one of them is signing up to the Patreon.
If you'd like to see how we tell the story of the Eichmann trial...
immediately.
Which, given that you've stayed with us for 3 episodes...
Let's finish it off. Come on.
Come on, finish it off. Finish me off, Daddy, would you? Fatty.
Not you, Morty.
Morty.
Fatty. I don't want Morty. I want Fatty.
I want to daddy cuddle. Oh, fuck me.
Right.
You can sign up to the Patreon, where you'll also get bonus episodes.
This is the first 4-part we've done in one sitting. This is the greedy boy eating 5 dinners.
This fourth part's going to be loose. I'm telling you that
there's
much.
like all you can eat challenges.
Yeah.
They're
all long parts as well.
We're now mopping it up with about 15 pieces of toast. This is because
we've been denied the Nazis for months.
Yeah.
And now we're on the table.
We're eating so much we're sick.
It's on the table and we're eating so much we're sick. Have I told you about the story when I ate 24 mince pies in one day? I'll say that for the next episode. We'll do that in the next episode.
The Christmas episode.
I'll say that in the next episode. If you want to know how and why. 24 mince pies.
I bet it wasn't even Christmas. That's how much of a fat fuck Finn was. He saw
we'll deal with that
it was
in the next
January
episode.
And mince pies were on a sale.
We'll deal with that in the next episode.
24
Join the Patreon to find out why
pies.
I ate 24 mince pies in one sitting and what happens to Adolf Eichmann. Now, you can't get better than that for a deal. 2 for
Who
1.
ate all the mince pies? Who transported all the Jewish
Join
people
the
in the
Patreon.
Holocaust?
We'll see you for the final part of our epic Eichmann series.
Cheers.
Cheers.